By now, you've heard that the gunman in Orlando, the Islamic terrorist that shot up Pulse nightclub, used an AR-15. And this is why this gun needs to be banned in Canada or banned in the United States, because it's the gun of choice for mass shootings, and except when it's not. Tony Bernardo is Executive Director with the Canadian Shooting Sports Association. He joins me now. Tony, this is turning out to be a big narrative fail, isn't it? It doesn't change the fact that 49 people were killed, but it changes this narrative that's been pushed about the need for greater gun control. Fill us in on how this came out that everyone's been talking about the wrong gun.
Well, I mean, it's an assumption on the part of the U.S. media now that every time there's a mass shooting, it's got to be an AR-15, and they're using this as part of their narrative to try to get a ban on this particular firearm. Reason's simple. It's the most popular sporting firearm in the world.
I've been telling people that all day as I was doing radio interviews across the country. People were saying, well, but this gun, I mean, who needs this sort of thing? This is an assault rifle. This is a military grade weapon. Hillary Clinton called it a weapon of war, and you call it a sporting gun. This has been used for hunting before in Canada. I believe
Yep.
it's used for hunting across the United States still, isn't it?
Absolutely, and in many other countries in the world too. The AR-15 is a civilian firearm. The M16 is a military firearm. The AR-15 was designed from the ground up to be civilian.
Mm-hmm. And was, I believe at one point, wasn't it marketed as the Colt Sportsman?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Colt Sporter is
Oh,
what they
the
called
Sporter,
it.
okay.
The Sporter, yeah.
It was put out there as something to hunt with, and for decades people were able to do that in Canada.
That's right. And now, of course, it's hugely popular in various shooting competitions.
So we've got Bob Zimmer in the crosshairs, Conservative MP from
Yep.
Northern British Columbia, in the crosshairs of the media because he dared to put up a petition weeks ago calling for the AR-15 to be reclassified. And
Right.
with the reports, now erroneous it turns out, that it was the AR-15 being used, I don't think it's going to change. There is still a push on.
Yep.
We've heard the clips. We've heard the questions from the media, most of whom wouldn't know a rifle from a lawn rake, as far as I can tell. And they want to know why they should be reclassified. Tell me this, Tony. We keep hearing that if Bob Zimmer's petition's successful and the government does this, which they won't, that it will make it easier to get an AR-15. Is it easier to get, or does it just change how it's used?
It just changes how it's used. You still have to have a firearms license in order to get the AR-15 in the first place. And the fact of the matter is, Brian, the AR-15 is incorrectly classified. It's not a matter of the gun owners wanting the thing to be freed up or anything like that. We just want some consistency in the gun laws. The AR-15 is a restricted firearm because someone put it on a list. If it was a brand new gun coming into Canada today, it would be a non-restricted firearm because it doesn't meet the mechanical characteristics of a restricted gun.
Explain that to folks, because I've been trying to say, look, just because it's black and that makes it look scary to you doesn't mean that that it's any more dangerous. It
Right.
operates the same way. It can shoot just as fast, just as far as many non-restricted rifles that are out there. It's just a semi-automatic rifle, but people don't
That's right.
seem to get that.
Yeah, it's exactly the same as a lot of deer rifles, to be perfectly honest with you. It just looks different. When C-68 was enacted in Canada, it set into stone mechanical criteria for determining what the classification of a firearm is. And the way it looks is not one of those mechanical criteria. What happens with the AR-15 is it is a standard five-shot semi-automatic firearm with a 20-inch barrel, and those characteristics make this firearm non-restricted. It's that simple.
So it was the MCX by 6 Hour that was used in
That's great.
the Orlando shooting.
Yep.
Do we need to ban that gun, Tony?
No.
Is this something? Actually, I don't know this rifle. Is it even legal in Canada? Can we buy it here?
Yes, you can, and it's a restricted firearm in Canada because of its barrel length.
Okay.
Okay. But it's not a variant of an AR-15 in any way, shape, or form. The only part that's interchangeable is the magazine, and there's over 60 guns out there that use the same magazine. So it's no issue whatsoever.
But once again, people will blame the inanimate object rather than talk about the person that, well, actually
Yep.
was the one to bring death and destruction upon
Right.
False Nightclub.
And you know what, Brian? Thank you for going there, because I've been trying to get the Canadian media to go there all day long. And what I'm saying to them is maybe we should be taking a really, really hard look at a terrorist organization that takes gay people and throws them off of roofs.
Well,
That
and
that's
it turns
it's
out this gentleman may have been gay and in the closet as well. We're still learning more, including the fact that we had the type of gun wrong.
yeah.
But
Yep.
before we know all the facts, people are out there pushing their political agendas, and unfortunately, that means we can't brush one religion over the actions of someone, but apparently we can go after yourself and other law-abiding gun owners
Right.
because of the actions of one man, and that's
Right.
really too bad.
And the fact of the matter is, the man admitted he was on an ISIS mission.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that isn't true, but certainly if that's what he perceives as an ISIS mission, then maybe we should be really, really looking hard at ISIS missions here, because that's a really crazy reaction to have.
Tony Bernardo, Canadian Shooting Sports Association. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Brian. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.